Welcome in, Commanders family. This is the Next Man Up podcast. I'm Brian Colbert Jr., and we will have Austin Ekeler coming and talk about his tandem with B-Rob. We will have the legend, Clinton Portis, talking about what he's doing these days and what is so different about the things going on here in Washington. Then we had to get you an NFL insider with all the things happening. Adam Schefter joins the show. All that and more starts right now on Next Man Up. 2, 3, kick. Commanders family, welcome into the Next Man Up podcast. I am your host, Brian Colbert Jr., and our Next Man Up is our new running back. Been in the league for a minute, but is only getting better. His shirt even says it, 1% better every day. Welcoming in Austin Ekeler, brother. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Yeah, compounded interest. That's what it's about.
Yes, sir.
A little bit every day, and it starts adding up. You know?
Yes, sir, man. And last time we sat here, so it's funny because as you guys can see, we are in a different room than the studio. You know, we're getting some new things changed. But I imagine last time you were here, you were signing your contract, right?
Yeah, I was sitting right over there.
Yeah, taking that picture.
Putting ink to the paper. So,
yeah, man. And then right after that, you came to the studio, and me and you had our interview, and we sat and talked, and you had just getting your feet wet in the DMV, man. I mean, you had just got here. So how has it been adjusting since?
Yeah, when we first talked, I didn't have enough time to really appreciate the area or the culture, but been around a little bit, been to a community event, been around some of the fans as well at our home game now at the preseason, so looking forward to more of that during the season. Been down to D.C. a little bit as well, feeling the love from the community, taking a few pictures with fans, so I'm starting to feel what people are talking about when they're like, oh, you're going to love it out here, because everyone that we've talked to, my wife's in the room as well in the background, for those of you that can't see her, they're like, oh, you're going to love the East Coast, you're going to love D.C., it's really clean, like a lot of history, great food, and it's definitely been that. So it's growing on us.
This is definitely the best place to be on the East Coast. Now, people will say it might be the South. I don't feel that way. I feel like this is the East just like you do, but this is definitely a great place to be, man. So we're happy you're getting acclimated. And, you know, on Next Man Up, we talk X's and O's, but we talk a lot about the player behind the helmet. But before we do that, you mentioned preseason. Yeah. Me and you caused a little trouble. I don't know if you realize. Me and you caused a little trouble preseason.
What we do?
Week 1, so
what we do?
You were doing our sideline interview.
Or what?
Me and you were doing our sideline interview, and I asked you about Jaden and how he was in the huddle in the pocket. And you revealed, because nobody else knew this, that Jaden checked out of a screenplay to make that pass to Diami.
I gave away too much.
You gave away so good. So,
snap.
okay, I was going to ask, did you get any heat for that? But clearly you didn't hear about it.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Man.
What'd they tell you?
I mean, I didn't get no heat about it either. I was just making sure we were good.
Okay, that's on me. I think we're good, yeah.
No, I mean,
don't worry. We changed our plays. We changed our signals. That's what it is. We got to anyway. You know?
But I think that was a great moment and great insight because it would allow Dan Quinn, allow Jaden to talk about that moment. Yeah. And not a lot of rookies are going to check out of something their first NFL drive.
Right.
But Jaden did that. And I think that encompasses what we've seen from Jaden. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from not only that one preseason game, that was the last time we talked, but since?
Yeah, something that I appreciate, you know, about just any quarterback coming in is really the communication. I want to see the communication be alive, and that tells me a few things, actually. But first of all, it tells me, okay, you care enough to come and be on the same page with me, and you want to see that connection happen. And you're going out of your way to make it happen. And what it also tells me, because he's a rookie, is that he wants to step into that leadership role as well, because he doesn't have to do that. He could easily hide behind the rookie. Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm just going to kind of, you know, let things come to me. He's the one that actually out there making it happen, right? Stepping up as a leader to go and communicate. So I love that about him. And then as far as just his mentality of being on the field, wants to continue to compete. You know, we got to get this guy to slide, you know, things like that. You know, he's learning how to be a pro. And so it's like, yeah, we love that fire in him, you know, and so he'll continue to learn, like I mentioned, how to be a pro and just continue to progress down this path. And the trajectory that he's going down is a pretty steep one right now. So I'm looking to see him continue to grow exponentially.
And he recently was named the starter. What was that first conversation like when you found out he was going to be your starting quarterback? I'm sure you had an idea, but when you got that official news.
You know how this league works, man. If you get drafted second overall, Heisman, you're expected to be in that role. Yeah. Man, so it doesn't mean you're going to get that role. Like, you still got to go out there and earn it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you don't just come in and walk in and get a spot.
Right.
You got to make sure that you check the boxes saying, yep, okay, he did that. He was a leader. He made good decisions. He did all the things he needed to do, and that's exactly what he came in and has done. And so he still has a long way to go. go, just because quarterback, I've been around some of the greats. I've been around Phillip Rivers, who had been there year 17, and I've seen what a true veteran quarterback with that many years of experience looks like. Also been around Jay Herb, out in LA, and see him grow into, for 4 years we played together. And so I know Jaden's on the right track based off of what I've seen from those other guys.
And we know you're going to help too, being here. And like I said, we'll talk football a little bit, but I want to talk about the man behind the helmet, because there's a lot of layers to you.
There's a lot of layers to me. I had a coach tell me one time that I'm probably the most unique person in the NFL.
That's a great compliment to have. That's a great because there's a lot of personalities in the NFL.
There's a lot.
I mean, dude, you're an investor. You're a gamer. You're a businessman. You're a husband. You're all of these things, and I want to focus on that because we got wifey here right now. So, of course, we don't want to bury the lead, right? You just got married recently. Tell us about the wedding. Where did you get married? And tell us about your wife.
So we got married recently out in Las Vegas, and so it was a beautiful wedding. Shout out to my wife for basically planning the whole thing.
And she's all smiles right now, by the
way. So it was an amazing time. Got our families together, and we're continuing to make this journey a beautiful thing, and looking forward to spending some time together out here on the East Coast. That's the first time we've really been in the same place for a long amount of time now, and it's been great so far.
Hey, man, congratulations on that.
There's
nothing better than that, man. That's beautiful, man. I can see how she loves you and supports you. And so she's a dancer.
Indeed.
She's a dancer, a very talented dancer.
Very, very talented dancer, tap dance, ballet, jazz, hip hop, anything, you name it, she got it.
What about you? You cut a rug a little bit?
I cannot cut a rug. I am very stiff, I got a little rhythm sometimes, but it's in spurts.
She says she's a dancer, so I'm gonna take her word for it.
In spurts, though. In spurts. It's not maintained. Everyone's got like a move or something. You're feeling it.
I got a little two-step.
I got a little move. A little hop, little jab in there.
So with the wedding, right? Like, we know that there's that first dance, that first moment.
Yeah.
Marrying an actual legitimate dancer. Did you have to learn like a whole choreographed thing? Like, what was that?
Yeah,
like?
absolutely. So, for us, we choreographed something. It was very basic. Like, there was some traditional dancing in there, but then when the chorus would come, we'd have like our little routine that we do just to put a little flair on it.
Okay.
And the flares continued to get a little bit bigger and bigger, but it was just enough for me where I was able to wrap my head around it and actually nail it. It wasn't too technical. So,
Man, hopefully, I know you're not going to, but I would love for you to send me that video so I can watch it, because I'm sure you did a great job. And the way she's smiling and supporting you, man, that is a beautiful thing. So again, congratulations on that. Business now.
Yeah.
Because the husband, that's the most important thing. But now you have a businessman as well. Tell us about that, man. You do so many different things, not just for yourself, but you also work to inspire other athletes and other people to get into business. Tell us all about it, man.
Yeah. For myself, my journey into the NFL and that conversation that I had with that coach where they told me I was really unique is because for me, I wasn't really aspiring to be in the NFL. Like, that wasn't like my North Star.
Yeah.
And that's because I came from a really, really small town and grew up in the cowboy life, have ridden bulls in my life, riding horses. Like, that's me in the cowboy hat. Like, that was me out there in the cowboy life. And then got into some traditional sports, but continued to progress through that. And then, found a love for football. That was my best sport. Didn't have any Division I offers or anything like that. It grew up around entrepreneurs. I grew up building barbed wire fence in the summers. And if you know anything about manual labor, it's not fun, especially out in the summer. Barbed wire fence will definitely teach you how to work hard. And so that was a blessing in disguise. Hated every minute of it, but definitely learned how to work. And that mindset has stayed with me ever since, even still to this day. And so going into college, as like I mentioned, I didn't have any Division I offers, went to a small school. So my anticipation for me in the future was, okay, I'm going to have to get some type of degree and use my mind to get my next opportunity. And so I really focused on my education, but then also really took football seriously because I did have a small scholarship. And at a Division II, you don't get a full ride, right? And so to increase your scholarship, you got to continue to get all conference, all American. So I'm hyper locked in on football and my education. And that was what it was for me growing up. And that's kind of what has continued to progress me forward into different businesses and things like that, because I've always had a passion for it.
Yeah. And I mean, you've seen so much success in the NFL. Yes, maybe that wasn't your initial dream, but you made it. You have this success.
Right. So let's talk about that. Yeah, because going into college, I start my first year. Actually left the day I graduated. Like, I threw my hat up in the air and I'm like, I'm going to get acclimated to this team. I'm going to go dedicate myself. I'm going to get up there in the summer, and I'm going to start going to work. Like, I'm ready to work. Like, let me get myself going. Let me get my opportunity. Let me get my life on its feet and start pushing it forward. And for me, it was like, okay, football is the first thing I can get into. School doesn't start until the fall, but it's summertime, so I'm up there working out. I got myself a summer job. I was a raft guy, taking down, you want to go down the Gunnison River, I could take it down the river.
You were a real renaissance man.
That's what it was at the time, man. You have to get it how you live it, So I had to pay rent somehow, and I was up in the mountains. And so I'm doing that, and I'm one of the strongest guys on the team already. I already lived in the weight room before then. Like, that was my passion. That was my getaway, and that was my therapy, was getting in the weight room. And my work ethic, just because of the upbringing that I had, was a lot different than the guys around me. Like, for me, it wasn't just playing football. Like, I'm not just playing football. Like, this is my life in my hands right here, right? Like, for me, this is the opportunity that's going to bring me to the next one.
Right.
So I can't let this slide. I can't just go about this casually. It's not casual. There's so much that rides on this for me to have some type of success, because that's going to show and traject the magnitude of my next opportunity. I didn't know if it was going to be in the NFL. I thought I was going to be in the business route. So I wanted to make sure I didn't have a ton of debt coming out. So I want to continue to increase my scholarship. So I'm locked in. School finally starts. I'm locked in, making sure I'm getting good grades, all of that stuff as well. And then, my freshman year, there's only 3 seniors on the team. So leadership was terrible. Seniors had left or transferred out or quit. And I remember my freshman year, our first away game, we go on the road, and everyone's messing around, talking during meetings, on their phone during meetings. And our offensive coordinator gets up and he's like, "Hey, man, does anyone have anything to say?" And I came from a culture we never lost. We didn't lose games, And like I said, this is more than just football to me. And so I was like, I got to say something, And I wasn't really a leader at that time, but I got up in front of him. I was like, "Hey, Coach, I got something." I remember my voice just trembling because I'm so nervous, but I cared so much. I'm like, "You guys are treating this like a vacation. This is some bullshit. Like, we need to be locked in. We're on a business trip, And it didn't come out as smooth as that,
right?
Because I'm trembling, like nervous. I'm starting to get teary-eyed because I care so much.
Intense.
I'm 18 up there. They got some 20-year-olds in the room. I mean, I'm the young guy. And ever since then, I was a captain. But then, my emotion played into it so much, because that was the intensity that I brought to the things that I'm involved in. And it was no different for my business side as well, as I continued to build. In the real estate, that was my first passion. That was my first thing that I was learning about. I was going to get into oil and gas. That's what I went to school for, energy management. I was going to use capital from that to get into real estate and start house hacking and start house flipping and get into a real estate portfolio. So that was plan A. That was plan A.
That was plan A.
That was plan A.
Not a bad plan B or C being an NFL
well, so
player.
Here's the thing. The NFL wasn't plan B. It just wasn't necessarily in the plans at all. Right? It was like, okay, yeah, that would be great if that happened, but no one from my school has ever gone to the NFL.
So you're trying to use logic to plan out your life a young man is, right?
I'm thinking of, okay, what's a path that if I do well, I can see the most success at the earliest age for myself. And I had never been around atmosphere around NFL or professional sports at all. And so after my junior year, I had a great year my freshman year, freshman of the year, great sophomore year. We were terrible. We were terrible. We won 2 games my freshman year, 4 games, and 7 games my senior year. But I still averaged 200 yards a game and 2 touchdowns, right? And so I'm out here dominating. I'm dominating. And after my junior year, my coach comes to me and he's like, "Hey, man, you have some NFL scouts asking about you." What the heck? NFL scouts?
Mind blown.
I'm like, these are mythical beings to me, right? Like, what do you mean NFL scouts? They're calling up to Western, I'd never seen one on campus before. And sure enough, after my senior year, they're on campus and they're watching me practice. And then it became real for me. Okay, this is a real opportunity for me. But all throughout my college career, I lived in the gym. I do our morning weight room routine with the team, and then there's 3 of us that after weights and after study hall and after school and everything, we'd be back in the gym, and we're just being guys, pushing each other. You got to get your arms bigger. You can't do that. Just testosterone boosting each other.
Good old locker room stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was what we did, and that's how I continued to get really strong and stay really fit and shape, and that was the mentality all year round. And when you're around that type of energy of just push better, it got to be better, then it just brings, and with the mentality of myself that this is not just a game, this is way more than that. You immerse yourself into it,
right.
And it's more survival instinct. It's not just, I'm just doing this because it's fun and I want an opportunity. It's no, this is my life that's on the line. I got to get it done. And that continued to stay with me as I got into the league as well. So like I mentioned, it wasn't that the NFL was plan B. It just wasn't in the plans until about my junior year. It was like, okay, now that's plan A, because that's the bigger opportunity now that's on the table. And it's exactly how I treated it. And so for me, it was, okay, if this is a real thing, I finished my senior year, had another great year, averaged like 190 yards a game again. It was like, all right, I'm going to drop out and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take this semester off. I'm just going to go train, because if this is really something that's an opportunity for me, I'm putting every ounce of my energy into it, so that at the end of the day, I can say that was everything. That was everything you could have got from me.
And that's clearly your personality. Your work ethic is everything to you, right? You're going to put everything into the main task. So with being an NFL player, you've ended up becoming one of the best to ever do it at your position. How do you stay that locked in on the NFL, but still do all of these other things that you're also locked into? How do you juggle that?
Yeah, so that's kind of the blessing and the curse almost, because I've been building myself the way I've been building myself. It was business first. I still have built up my capabilities to be able to pursue things in the business world. As far as my understanding of real estate, that was really where I first started. And so after I played my rookie year of NFL, had some capital, I had already had plans to start getting into real estate through my business route, but now I had an earlier capital than I was expecting. So now I started getting into some house hacking, started buying multifamily houses back in Colorado, and built up a portfolio there and started to build relationships. If you've heard anything about business, you know relationships are huge in business.
Everything.
And so I was already starting to accumulate these relationships even before I got into the NFL. And so once I got into the NFL, it just gave me more capital right away. So now I'm able to deploy even more than I thought I was going to be able to, and really started to build a portfolio of real estate in Colorado. And that just continued to feed my ability to learn and my capabilities to expand. And so continued to do that, then started my first real estate fund, and we bought a big portfolio out in Kansas City, Missouri, moved a few house hacking crews or house flipping crews out there, about 4 of them, and we were flipping some houses, 1031 in some, saving some as well, and keeping them in the portfolio. Now we're looking at Alabama. And so what the theme of it is, I've continued to expand the capabilities that I have by not only increasing my knowledge, but also supplementing myself with team members that I can trust and put in place to help me build these portfolios up.
And this is all while trying to make an NFL roster, be trying to build a career, because again, you went undrafted.
Correct.
This isn't a first round guy that just has all the time in his world. It's not somebody that just knows they're going to be a starter.
Correct.
You're doing all of this while still trying to make this dream come true.
And so that's why I say it's a blessing and a curse. Blessing because it allows me to have some type of experience in a lot of different industries, and actually go and actually move and actually deploy in those industries, but also a curse because I'm so just locked in on building things because I'm obsessed with it. Like, that is who I am. Like, I see an opportunity, I want to build around that because I know that it's going to be an opportunity for me to progress my life, to find fulfillment with that. And I want to continue to expand. You see it on my shirt, 1% better every day. Like, how can we continue to compound interest in different ways? And so real estate was the first one, then started getting into the NFL and started to build a community. And so I started doing streams. I built a company called Gridiron Gaming Group. We did a bunch of it was basically a bunch of athletes and entertainers I put together in a group, and we would do things around the Super Bowl and around the Indy 500. We have a driver in there. We did stuff around. We had Alicia Gray from the WNBA. She went to the Olympics. And so we had a good crew in there. We did a bunch of stuff in the streaming world, learned some stuff from that. Then I got into tech from that because I realized how hard it is for athletes to really set up their own tech or do fan engagement. So now I've started an app as well. And then I've done a few shows as well too, big in the fantasy space. So the moral of the story behind me, after putting a real estate aside, is I've realized that there's so much power in community that I want to figure out, and I've been continued to build around communities. How can I either build a community or help others build their community, or help others tap into their existing community? And so that's where my focus is off the field when it comes to my endeavors.
And you've done that. You've not only done that for yourself, but like you said, you've helped others as well. And I can sit and talk to you all day, Austin, but I know you're a busy man, but there's definitely something we got to hit on, and it's experience.
Yeah.
You talked about an app you created. Tell us all about experience and how people can download it, how people can be a part of it. Tell us all about it.
So I mentioned I started getting into the tech business, and what I really realized especially in the NFL, is that us as players have such a short bandwidth when it comes to things outside of football that we're not really passionate about. There's a few outliers that people are really passionate about something, they'll do it all day. But one of the things that we all have is a community, whether it's from the name on the front of our jersey right here, Washington Commanders, or the name on the back. We have some type of community, some type of fan base there. And there's so much value in that. And you see that from all the brand deals that get done. And it's like, that's great. Like, make your money on brand deals. But it's like, okay, are those people really interested in a 15% off, coupon? Sure, maybe they are, but they're more interested in what you're doing,
right,
and being involved in what you have going on. And so I created experience to allow outside fan bases to be able to tap into athletes, but knowing that athletes have a short bandwidth, so I made it as easy as possible to do different types of engagements with people like myself. So if you want to get your jersey signed, or you want to get anything signed in the sports world, you can now go on to Experience, and you can go to fan mail, and then you buy the fan mail offering and send in your stuff to get signed. So we have a few of our guys, like Marcus Mariota's on there, Jonathan Allen, myself, Luke, McCaffrey. So like right now you can go on there and get your stuff signed by our guys. Or if you want to like a personalized video, right? If you want to root us on for the game, the opener against Tampa, like you can go in there and do that. You can have a video chat with us. So different types of engagements that are on there, and we manage it for the athletes because we know like I said, their bandwidth is short. So it's an engagement platform. So if you want to download it, it's Experience, and it's spelled EKS, as my last name's Ekeler, right? Experience, EKSPR, and then the rest of Experience. So yeah, definitely check it out if you want to get something signed. We have some guys, and we have like 90 guys in professional sports on there right now. So we're continuing to expand.
All right, man. I'm gonna need my Ekeler signature too.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, I need that.
Well, you're
man.
here, so
yeah,
I
can just get right in.
For the people on the West Coast, how they can get their stuff signed.
Right, exactly. Well, now they got an app to do it.
Now they can get it signed because they can't come to training camp or be at the game.
Right,
so.
but they can download Experience, and that's Apple anywhere, right?
Apple, Android, both of them.
Awesome, man. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, man. I could sit and talk to you all day.
Likewise, man.
Why even talk X's and O's when we got somebody like here, right? But I do have to ask.
It all, man. I'll do it all. Let's do it.
But I do have to ask, as my last question, because we do have Tampa Bay coming up.
Yeah.
Our first game of the season. Your first time wearing an NFL game wearing burgundy and gold. What can fans expect?
Hey, man, look, we have a lot of new pieces in our offense. Not just offense, the whole team, from head coach to ownership to players. And when I was actually talking to Adam about this, I was like, man, like it's really special to see what we've built here as far as guys who've been there, done that, veterans that have had success in this league, right? Putting ourselves, especially on offense, around Jaden with guys that have had, like I've mentioned, a lot of success, and our veterans, leaders as well, and really can put Jaden in a great spot to lead us, as a rookie quarterback, even with Tyler up front at center. And so I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I'll tell you this, man, I'm super excited for what we've been seeing at practice and what we've been putting together, because we've been putting in the results, putting in the details, putting in the time to make sure that the results can hopefully be what we desire. We can't control results, but we control our inputs, and that's what I'm all about. It's about getting better, continue to stay on the rise. And so I can give you that. We're going to give everything we can to make sure that we're winning games out there and putting our best foot forward.
1% better every day. Austin, that's all we could ask for, man. I appreciate you, man. It's been so cool. It's nice meeting wifey, man. You got moves to make. Go explore the city a little bit.
Absolutely.
Austin, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Commanders family, our next man up is somebody extremely special. 9 years in the NFL. Over 11,000 all-purpose yards with 80 touchdowns. 2 Pro Bowls. Went to the U. Played here in Washington. Now, if you hear this brother's name, you think of Washington. When you hear Washington, you think of this brother's name. Our next man up is no other than running back Clinton Portis. Clinton, how you doing, bro?
Good, man. What's going on?
Oh, man, happy to have you here, man. These are exciting times. And, bro, we saw you on the sideline of our last preseason game at the crib. It was Commanders Field. Now it's Northwest Stadium. How'd it feel to be back on that field, man? I saw you got a lot of love.
Man, it's always good to be back in that stadium, man. I think it brings back so many memories, and then just the feeling, the smell of football, the fall season, the fans, everything that we do it for, the stuff that you kind of miss when you retire, not even the competition. It's just the love that you get from the people. So anytime I step on that field, it's always special.
And I saw you had your kids with you, man. You brought the fam with you. A lot of times when we're doing these things and we're in it and our kids are watching us do it, it's normal to them. They don't realize how special their parents are, the things that we're doing. Do your kids realize how special their dad was and like really what it is when they step on that field with you?
Man, I think it's getting to that time now that they're involved in sports and they're having their moment, for to leave the field, their juniors being recruited, to leave the field and bring them to NFL stadium. I think the encouragement just to see like, oh, this is what it's like. I think that was great for them. So to be able to have them to bring them along, when they're kids, you kind of want them sheltered from it,
Right.
but they're getting into their own, and at the point of this could be you, in the next year or two, you stepping on college fields and receiving a reception, just trying to make sure you understand like all this goes with it. It's not just on field, you got to be the people's person. You got to be for your fans, like to see that 26 jersey throughout the stadium, and it's like people don't even know you there, but like, hey man, you know what? Nice jersey. Let me sign that. Or to see that one or that 89, like it's just one of those, like we 10, 15 years removed from doing anything and you still getting the love. So just trying to teach them how to deal with people, how to appreciate the fans, how to make sure the fans know going above and beyond, taking pictures, signing some autographs. Like this comes with it.
Man, that's great to hear. And I'm glad you're getting the flowers you deserve. Because again, man, like if you ask me about Washington growing up, I'm thinking about Clinton Portis off the rip or Sean Taylor, right? So you're like, that's how heavy your name was, and that's how much you did for this fan base. Let's talk about the vibes and the energy of the actual like facilities and the players and the coaching staff. You were around for a few coaching staffs. You got to see a lot of things. How is this time different? Because we've heard from all of the legends about the energy is just different. The energy is just different. How has it been different for you?
I think in talking to the players, talking to Jonathan Allen, talking to Crowder, the expectations, understanding what's expected of you, having it clear, it's already laid out. These are the standards, you got a standard. This is what we abide by. This is what we do, and getting it done. So when you don't have that standard, when you don't have that discipline, when you don't have that identity, I think it's harder for players, because everybody kind of in chaos and creative. And all of a sudden you got a voice in Coach Quinn. You got a new ownership group with a different vision. You got so many intricate pieces that want to see you win, just the energy for the city to be back in position of like exciting, to have energy to want to be at the stadium, with it being no distractions and just about football. I think it's been quiet for a couple years, and now it's like switching over to it's about football. At the end of the day, wins and losses, and you want to see a winning product.
And I think what helps with that excitement, right, is a rookie like Jaden Daniels. Having a rookie quarterback like that could come out and just be dynamic. What have you seen from Jaden in your own eyes? And what have you heard from, coaches, former teammates about Jaden Daniels?
Well, I think when you look at Jaden Daniels, just his path to the NFL, I saw him at Arizona State, then I see him at LSU, to actually be a fan, to see the progress, to see the work you put in, how your teammates thought of you at Arizona State, compared to the appreciation and love you got at LSU, the elevation it took, how you lifted the team, and carried a storied franchise, then you go out and you win the Heisman, and all of a sudden you're second pick in the draft. You come out in the draft with a lot of quarterbacks. You kind of jump through the hurdles. I thought he was the best quarterback in college football. So to be able to land him and put weapons around him without the distraction, I think his playmaking ability and all that speak for itself. Having the opportunity to speak with him on the sideline, the advice I gave him, I said, man, this city would love you. Just go out and perform. This city would love you. You don't have to get into a back and forth. You don't have to listen to the naysayers. Go out and perform. The city will love you. And I think he was really receptive to that advice.
I mean, when it comes to rookies, I don't know if any rookie came into the league and had an impact like what you did, right? Winning Offensive Rookie of the Year when you came in. talk about that advice you gave to Jaden. What advice would you give to rookies as a whole on being able to be successful and find success in that first year in the NFL?
Man, like for me, coming in as a rookie, I was a second round draft pick, and that created the biggest chip on
Mm,
my chip that you can find. A lot of these kids don't have a chip. They don't have it. I made it. I made it. You haven't made a play. For me, going in the second round was like a slap in the face, seeing four guys go in front of me that I felt like you got to be kidding. And go out and put the body of work together. It was like one of those animosity, like, okay, every team I play, I got to make sure they understand they should have drafted me. I got to make them wish, you know what, we messed up. We should have took this kid. And, that's what I set out to do. It was all just, man, I'm proving people wrong. For 2 years, I'm proving doubters wrong. I'm proving haters wrong. All the people who say, oh, this kid should have went in front of him, or, oh, it was a second round pick. That used to fuel me. So I think for guys now, you got to find something to fuel you. You got to go out and compete. A lot of these guys, it's just, hey, man, I'm here. I'm getting this paycheck. I've arrived, compared to playing for the name on the back of the jersey. That used to mean something. Like, you wanted Portis to be a household name. I think Sean T wanted Taylor to be a household name. Santana wanted Moss to be a household name. It wasn't about the paycheck. We were all getting a paycheck. Like, all right, we got this check. Now what? You know what I mean? So I think you just get honest with self when it comes to playing football. A lot of us just like, oh man, I played today. Well, I caught a pass. The hell, you play receiver? They throw the ball. That's the standard. Like, I don't want to just be average. I want to be above. I want to be household name.
And in order to become a household name, especially that young, right? It's not just the chip on your shoulder, it's also the people around you that are giving you that game, giving you that advice, helping show you, like, hey, man, listen, stay focused on the main goal. Who are those people that helped inspire you, that helped to lead you and just gave you game while you were a youngster?
Oh man, for me, I had the pleasure of being at the U and then going to the Broncos. So at the U, I think everybody big dog was Edge.
Right.
Then when you play with guys, the Dan Morgans, the Santana, the Reggie Wayne, and Jeremy Shockey and Andre Johnson, like, you kind of pick it up. Then when you get to the NFL, I got Rod Smith, I got Shannon Sharp, Terrell Davis, like Al Wilson, Ian Mobley. You had so many players, Delta O'Neal, like, you had so many leaders that came off of a Super Bowl team. So they were used to winning. They knew what the standards was. They knew what to expect. So it was easy for me to, like, fall in. People always ask, like, what was the difference in you in Denver and you in DC? And I'm like, DC, I had to grow up.
Yeah.
DC, be the face. I was the face of the team. I'm carrying the organization. It's kind of like year 3, I get this opportunity, and my expectations change. Like, you're the face of an organization. In Denver, I'm like 15th on the totem pole. You had so many guys there from, veterans that were leaders that had been in this community, that had won championships. Brian Greasy, you're fresh off of Elway. TD's still around. Like, Eddie McCaffrey, like, you talking about class acts. You got all of these guys, and then you come to a different situation. It's kind of like, I got to take what I learned and bring it here. But everybody forget, like, I'm 22 years old when I come to
Young.
DC. Yeah.
And you talk about that Denver to Washington transition. Let's talk about that for a little bit because you got traded. It was a big trade, probably one of Denver's biggest trades when you ask the fans. What goes through your mind when you hear that news? 2 years, you're killing it out in Denver. Then you get traded, man. What's the first thing you think about when you hear that news?
Denver biggest trade, I think, is still one of the NFL's biggest trades.
Yeah, for sure.
Me for Champ Bailey and what turned out to be Tatum Bell. I thought that was huge because I was a Champ Bailey fan. Growing up, Champ Bailey, Charles Woodson were really like the last two going both ways in
Right.
college time. So everybody kind of had that vision, like, well, I want to be like Champ. I want to be like like Wood, like, and then to get traded for him, of course, it's an honor, you know. Um, and then everybody look at the careers like, oh, well, Denver won the trade, or however it went. Man, I would never say that. I think the impact on the game, I think it worked out for both. For what he took to Denver, for what he did in Denver, to be able to go out was great. But I think what I did in DC, what I was asked to do in DC, the development I got, to have the honor of playing for Coach Gibbs. Like, man, to go from Shanahan to Gibbs. Like, you can't. Shanahan is up here. It's hard to find a better coach, and then you go to Coach Gibbs, who probably one of the most humble, winningest people in life of all time. So I thought it was great.
And you hit the ground running literally when you got here, man. I don't think anybody has had a debut for Washington like you had. First carry, housed it, 64 yards to the crib. Take us back to that moment, man, because again, you have these expectations put on you that you said, right? You're here to be the face of the team. You're here to be this leader, and then you go and house it like that, man. Take us back to that moment.
Man, I think when you look at the Lavernius, when you look at Chris Samuels, when you look at LeVar, just the team coming together, that was a moment, like the momentum that carried over from that first play. It was just, hey man, here go my debut, this stadium rocking. Like, man, these people don't know who I am. Like, these people think, oh man, we just lost a great, which you did, but you didn't get no shabby player in return. It was one of those, like, let's make our stamp and everything open up. The O line, that thing opened up, and it was just like, oh, here you go. You couldn't have drawn that up. I don't think anybody in their right mind could have been like, hey man, this is gonna happen. It's a take it to the house just to see the reaction. Like, if you look at the camera view of that, like, it's rocking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? How often do you get that? And that's gonna always be an iconic play.
You talk about an iconic moment like that, but you had a lot here in Washington. What is your favorite memory when you sit back and look about your time with Washington? What is one of your favorite memories that you could share with us?
Man, that phone call on draft day to get Sean T. Um, I think that tops anything that I've done on the field. Just that steadiness. Hey, Sean T, we need Sean. Um, and for it to happen, I think for that to happen, and then we go out in the phone call to get Santana. Just those moments, the stuff that you don't see wasn't really on the field, but once we start taking the field, when we're coming out of the tunnel, and you just got, which we had more guys, but just at the end of the day, we knew, hey man, it's gonna come down to how we play. Like, we carry this, we make this thing go. Um, and it was just that bond, when you think back or when you see it, or when people talk about it or discuss it, it's like you can't mention one without the other, and that's not often. You look at teams that won Super Bowls, you have that, but for a team that you know won one playoff game, you don't. So I think to create that bond was really special. That's one of those, when you think of Troy Aikman, you like Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. When you think of the Buffalo Bills, you like Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, San Fran, Montana, Young, Rice, Roger Craig. It's like it go hand in hand with winning. But most of the time when you think of the Skins, unless you're thinking about the Super Bowl teams, which Gary and Art Monk and all those guys, Joe, and just Darryl Green, it's us.
Yeah.
It's us, and it's hard to change that. Even 15 years later, you know, uh, Shanti died in '07, so 17 years later, that's still, hey, we go hand in hand.
And CP, all the sacrifices, all the hard work you put in, paved the way for so many others. Sean Taylor as well. All these guys that you mentioned, y'all paved the way for this new era that is the Washington Commanders. And we have some tough dogs in the backfield with B Rob and Austin Ekeler. From the OG himself, man. How excited are you to see those two paired up? Because, back in the day, man, you had to just be the workhorse, carrying all the downs. Now you see a different NFL where it's two guys working in tandem. What do you expect to see from them?
Well, like it's crazy because I feel like back in the day as the workhorse, when I think of Liddell Betts and Rock Cartwright, Mike Sellers, for what we did as a unit, the expectations amongst us, I feel like we were a group, like our relationship, like everything, we were a group. And then to go to see the form of the NFL where it's kind of forced. Like, hey, everything is a tandem. Like, I think we understood, like, here go my moment, lead dog. When I come out, here go your opportunity. But to not be selfish, because I think Liddell still did his thing amongst me having, the yards that I had. Liddell, when he got his opportunity, came in to capitalize, or a Rock came in to capitalize. So now it's kind of like this running back by committee, and you don't get to grind it out. You don't get to feel the effects of the running game. Like we used to this ground and pound where you're gonna get consecutive carries and you moving the chain and you getting the crowd into it. So now it's kind of like every down you're running on and off the field. So you don't really get into tempo. So to be able to see B Rob and Austin come together. You got to make this thing work. It's not like Austin is just a third down back. Like
Right.
this people are making plays, and he's here to make plays. So to be able to see them and how they're gonna 1-2 or play off of each other, is gonna be exciting. And then, I mean, you forgot we got Terry. You got Jaden. So you
Yeah.
got Zach Ertz, like these people that made plays in the NFL, so you got weapons around you to go out and get it done.
And CP is so cool to see you in this light, man. As the father, as the OG, as the veteran, man. It's so cool to see this and talk to you. And like any human being, right? We all go through our trials and tribulations, right? We all have life things that happen. But you have been somebody that has said, I am leaving my past in the past and I want to move forward. That is something that all of us want to do, but it's so easier said than done. How have you managed to move forward in your life and be a father, be this OG vet for these guys, man? What is advice you can give the people that are also trying to just get past trials and tribulations?
Man, that's life. If
Yeah.
you have trials and tribulations in life, you doing something wrong. I think uh, the definition of an icon, when you think of uh, the people, the story, the overcoming the adversity, like you want to overcome, like you don't want anything easy. Although, some of the things I experienced, um, of course, I would love to erase, but at the same time, I'm not ducking no smoke. I'm not dodging it. Like it's part of life, man. And you know, things went bad or things went good. People celebrate you different. So for me, it's just kind of one of those grounded, staying level, head above water, making sure the next generation, the younger generation, however I can help them avoid to do it. Everything else is like, man, a lot of people look at it as, hey, man, you know what? He dealt with this. I look at myself as like the stand-up individual because the stuff I dealt with, I shouldn't have been dealing with, and I had nothing to do with. But at the same time, to be able to save face, to be able to look yourself in the mirror, like, man, I'm a stand-up individual. You know what I mean? I'm a strong individual. I'm Laurel, Mississippi, bred, born, and raised. So I
Amen.
feel I'm gonna walk through hell. Hey, dash gasoline on me, man. To that last breath, I'm gonna keep doing it.
CP, man, I believe you in that, man. And thank you for being such a stand-up guy and taking the time with us. And of course, on that note, what do you got going on, man? What are you working on? What are things that people can follow and support you?
Man, myself, London Fletcher, Nate Clements, Antoine Bethea, Dr. Marty Connor, we got a youth movement going on here in the Carolinas, Carolina Prospect. Got about 25 to 27 kids that we're trying to help get in college. I mean, these kids are blowing up right in front of our eyes. You know, we take these kids to college, kind of hand deliver them to coaches, and this thing caught on fire in 1 year. You know, we
Wow.
went from zero offers and zero stars. So we got a couple 4 stars, about 80, 90 offers amongst the group in 1 year. I think that's been outstanding. And then, you know, out by Dulles Airport, we're going to drop this Taco Chinos. Should be open
Okay.
in November. So, man, we're going to do our thing, man. Come out and support. We're going to figure out how to get involved with the team, maybe get one in the stadium. So Taco Sunday instead of Taco Tuesday. So look forward to that, man, and just keep on vibing.
Hey, CP, man, I live right next to IAD, so man, I'm hoping I can get some free tacos, man.
Definitely can get some free tacos. All right.
CP, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time. Again, man, we're so happy to have you back in the fold, man. Don't be a stranger. It's great to see you, man, and good luck with all your endeavors. And yeah, man, talk to you soon.
Hey, all right, man. Take care. Appreciate you.
Commanders family, our next man up is somebody extremely special that took the time out of his busy schedule to come kick it with us. He's driving through the hills of Connecticut, so don't judge him for his bad service. But we got a very special NFL insider as our next man up. Commanders family, our next man up is no other than NFL insider, one of the best to ever do it, Mr. Adam Schefter. Adam, we appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, man, this is great. I mean, we're getting you in one of the busiest times of year for you. There's a lot of things moving on. I could tell you got that phone buzzing right now, so we appreciate your time. But I have to give you a little walk down memory lane real quick because we actually got to work together a few years back when I was at ESPN as a PA, and you were always so kind and nice and so professional. So I just wanted to start off by saying thank you, and it's great to see you again.
Brian, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And it's great to be with you today.
Yes, sir. And you have been a busy man, especially with the Commanders. It seems anytime we have something breaking, Adam Schefter is the one on the case. What has it been like from you seeing this offseason unfold for the Commanders?
Well, there's been a lot of change, obviously, when you change the coaching staff, when you change the front office, and then you change the quarterback. Those are the most important positions in an organization. And the Commanders, you went 3 for 3 there in terms of making changes. So they brought in some people that I think have a chance to be really good. Dan Quinn is very well respected, very well liked. Adam Peters has got a great reputation as the general manager, has the chance to do some great things for the Commanders. And if Jaden Daniels is what they hope and think he is, then rocket ship to the moon, because that's where it all starts. You have to have the quarterback, and if they've got the quarterback, then that franchise is going to be set. You know, I imagine it would be a little bit like when RG3 came in as a rookie before he got hurt. Everybody was really excited. He played well, went into the opening game against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans and lit them up, and led the Commanders or Redskins to an upset victory. And obviously, you guys are hoping now that Jaden Daniels can do the same.
And Adam, like you said, right, I'm here and I see it, but you're on the national media. You have gotten to see all of these different NFL teams. You're covering them every single day. So in your perspective, where are the Commanders at right now, and what do you expect to see from them this season?
You know, again, I'm expecting improvement. And the question is how much improvement, right? And I think anything is possible in Washington this upcoming year. I think there's going to be vast improvement. And look, the roster has holes. It's a new regime. The new regime just took over. It's going to take some time. But it feels like with the 3 main pieces that they've assembled that we talked about, that you're on the path to building what you want to build. That's what it feels like to me.
And you've seen so many different rookie quarterbacks come in and come out with a lot of expectations. What have you seen so far from Jaden Daniels that makes you think, you know what, he might be the one?
I haven't seen enough of him, to be honest with you. You've seen more of him than I have. I've seen him in a preseason game. So, again, I just know what other personnel people were saying to me during the draft process. I had a couple of people whose opinion I respect, independent of each other, both say to me that they felt like Jaden Daniels had a real chance to be Lamar Jackson 2.0. Now, that doesn't mean he will be, but it means he's got a chance to be. And sports is about memories and it's about hope. And there's hope that Jaden Daniels can be exactly what other people believe he can be, which is Lamar Jackson 2.0. Now, if he is that, if he is, what can this team do? And the answer would be anything, if he's that good. But we don't know that yet. We're waiting to see. And that's the exciting, intriguing part of the upcoming season.
And we'll get a good taste of that in week 1 when we head over to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. What do you expect to see from that game? And do you feel Tampa Bay is the proper test for a rookie, or there will be still more questions because Tampa Bay isn't that, Green Bay Packer team that's that premier playoff team?
That game's in Tampa, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Any road game for a rookie quarterback is going to be tough to open with. So Jaden Daniels is going to have all he can handle. But again, and I don't know how it's going to work, if he is what they think, he's going to go out and ball. And what are we going to see? Like, that's one of the great, exciting questions of week 1, right? So we'll see how that works out.
And Adam, we're going to let you go because we know you're busy. We know there's a lot of breaking news coming up, but you are Mr. Breaking News. So if you had to just give us a guess on what moves you see the Commanders making in the near future, what would you say that would be?
Well, they just made a ton of them, right? Today, they signed Noah Brown, the former Texans wide receiver, who I happen to like. I think that guy can make plays. He's going to join their active roster. They needed some receiver help, and they get it in Noah Brown. They traded John Ridgeway, the defensive tackle, to the Saints in a late-round pick swap. They traded Jahan Dotson last year. Like, they've been busy and active. Like, you can't make all these moves every single day. So they've made a lot of moves. They're going to continue to make more moves, and they're going to keep trying to build this the right way.
And Adam, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you giving us a national perspective from a true NFL insider. Adam, I hope I talk to you soon. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great season.
All right, you too. Have a great one. Enjoy your rest of your day.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.